What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Uncle Fred, and coming again, once again, to you again on Thursday evening. It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of y'all that are enjoying your day with your families and having, people over. And I'll tell you once again, please enjoy your families, enjoy the time, hug and love on your families. Matter if you got disagreements or got some issues with them, love on them. Because you can't love on them when they're not there no more. So take this opportunity to do that. Okay. Now, after having said that, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Become a part of the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you won't be disappointed. And when you see the look on my face like this, you know what? It wasn't a good day as it relates to the Cowboys. Cowboys lose in overtime 36-33 in OT. A couple takeaways that I have from this game. And Cowboy, I want to know how y'all feel about this. I got some mixed feelings. I got some things I thought went well, and then some things that not so well. And well, first of all, it's a couple takeaways that I got from the game. And first of all, we missed some opportunities. Okay. There was a couple opportunities in the first half. Just didn't think that we got our offense got on track, man. I think guys, and I understand we had some guys missing, and you're going with Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, and Noah Brown. Those are your receivers you're going with. Okay. And they, for some reason, they really couldn't get any separation for real. So that allowed the Raiders to play us in certain coverages. They could play us in man because we really couldn't get any separation. I think Michael Gallup got away a couple times. But I understand Michael Gallup really only played like one and a half games this whole season. Okay, he's just now probably rounding into shape, And then you got Cedric Wilson, who fills in admirably as a third receiver in the slot. When you got CD on one side and Amari on the other side, he fills in and does these things. And then there's the little gadget plays he does. He can throw the ball, do all kinds of things. But when you're asking him to be the number two guy, that's a little, you moving up in rank. So I didn't think they got enough separation in key situations to give Dak, targets to throw for. And so that was my first. Again, I thought we weren't as aggressive running the football as we should have been. What we have, we had a total of 64 yards rushing. We had 64 yards rushing, and give me a second here. We had 64-yard rushes on 20 attempts, which is like 3.2 yards an attempt. Conversely, the Raiders had 143 yards on 35 attempts, and we know Derek Carr likes to throw the football. So, and I know Zeke is a little dinged, but man, you got to go to Pollard, man. That 100-yard kickoff return, if that ain't evidence enough, that dude's explosive. Good and well Zeke wouldn't have been able to pull that off. So I thought he should have got more opportunities in the run game. I know how much we're paying Zeke, but I think we need to get the ball more to Pollard. He's a healthier guy. He's younger, fresher. And, I thought we should have really gotten the ball to Pollard a lot more. Heck, they said as much in the halftime show with Bill Cowher and some of the guys that was on the CBS panel. Tony Pollard had 10 carries for 36 yards. Ezekiel had 9 for 25. What am I going to do with that? Conversely, the Raiders went 22 for 87 with Josh Jacobs, who hadn't had a 50-yard game all season, but one time over 50. He had 87. and Kenyon Drake 7 for 25. So he almost did as much as all of our guys, and he just got stuff on spot duty. So I just think sometimes we give up on the run too much. And I think it's an attitude thing. And you got to have an attitude to want to run the football. And it's about attitude. It's about, really wanting to hit people. You can't be passive in that regard. So I had that going. You got that going, and then now I would be remiss if I didn't say the officiating was atrocious tonight. Atrocious. Okay. Now I will admit there were some plays that we legitimately got plays called. There was some holding calls we got. And it's holding. Because I know Beatish, the center, he held one time. I think he got a nice little bear hug in there, and there's another time I think he got twice on maybe the same drive and whatnot, and there was some of that stuff going on. But there were some other gaffes that the referees made, and I was like, "What are you calling?" And it always seemed like it was on a third down play when we trying to get off the field. Okay, now first egregious one I thought was in the first quarter when they scored on their second touchdown. Because I think they scored 14 in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they scored 14. It was on their second drive, or their second scoring drive. And hang on a second. Let me get here. Here we go. It was on their second scoring drive. Here we go, right here. Where they went, they went 3 plays and 75 yards. And, I think they went, okay. No, this is the first drive where they hit D-Jack on. I'm trying to tell folks, Deshaun Jackson can still run. You better don't let that dude get behind you. This dude's like 34 years old and still run past guys. Anthony Brown gonna learn. This guy can still play. And he got behind him and burnt him on that 56-yard touchdown. But I'm talking about the second drive when they had it was 3rd and 6 at the 31-yard line. And I thought Anthony Brown played that perfectly. Now, I think people have this conception that, if you're playing pass defense, you can't touch the guy. It's kind of a pipe dream to think that 2 guys can run down the field, one guy's supposed to stop it, and you run in and you crisscross, and you don't touch each other. But he ran into the end zone. Anthony Brown was inside of him, which is a perfect position, up next to the sideline, up in the end zone. And yeah, he's going for the football, and their arms kind of accidentally hooked, but he's going for the football. And he actually intercepted that. That's not pass interference, okay? Because you're entitled, when that ball's in the air, you're entitled to go for that football, okay? Now, for him to play that coverage like that inside, yeah, you're going to make some contact in there, but he's going for the football. And I didn't like that call. And that gave them 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, okay? And, of course, then after that, it was 1st and goal from the 1, and and they scored with a 1-yard run by Josh Jacobs, and they made it 14 to 6. We missed the extra point on our touchdown when we ran it in. Come on, Greg, you got to make the extra points, man. Come on. I mean, I'm not knocking him for too much for that. He missed the field, but that was a 59-yard field goal. I mean, I'm not knocking him for that either. But you got to make the extra points. But yeah, I didn't like that one. I didn't like that play, and I think the refs were a little too egregious in calling pass interference. You got to let them play a little bit. You got to let them play. And then I thought another bad thing that happened was in the second quarter when Derek Carr threw one over the middle to Brian Edwards. It was clearly fumbled to me, okay, and I can't remember I think it was 42. I want to say that was Keanu Neal ran it down, flipped it back inside to a Curse, And and I thought he returned it for a touchdown, but he is obviously he couldn't keep his balance. And he ran out of bounds and whatnot. But for those who may not know, that is any play that's a potential turnover is supposed to be called that turnover, and then they review it because if you call it that, that means the subsequent things that happen after that can be okay. Okay, what are you saying, Uncle Fred? What I'm saying is, if you call that a fumble, okay, and realize, and Curse was able to keep his balance and score, that's actually a touchdown. All right. Now, if they go back and look at it and they say, okay, he didn't really have it for 2 steps and it's really an incomplete pass, then all bets is off. It's an incomplete pass. Okay. But if you call it a incomplete pass, and he was able to do that, and then you look at it and be like, oh, well, dang, yeah, that actually is a fumble. But then you can't give him the touchdown because you can say, well, because we blew the whistle, everything after that is subsequently is dead. So you get the ball where you recovered it at. And see, that's not fair. See, that's why they're taught to call it, let the potential turnover stand until you review it. And they jumped the gun. And I guess they thought that, oh, yeah, that's definitely an incomplete pass. When the replay officials and the guys in the booth and the guys in the, that was calling the game looked at it 4 or 5 times. They're like, I don't know. And they're looking at it in slow motion. So there's no way in HE double hockey sticks you're going to tell me these officials saw that at game speed and automatically knew that was an incomplete pass. You just called it that way. And then that's why Mike McCarthy didn't challenge that, because they were told that, in order for you to challenge that, it had to be overwhelming evidence that it was not the other thing for them to change it. They're really not changing calls, but they're really were supposed to left that as a fumble, and then let's let to see what happens, And but luckily we didn't get burnt by that. But that's just a bad call. It's just bad mechanics. That's not how that's supposed to be done. And because they even talked about it, I think, yeah, they're supposed to let that be what it is. That's what Gene Saratory was trying to tell them. They're supposed to let that be, and then come back. And if they have to look at it, because all scoring plays, all turnovers are looked at. Okay, so you can let it be whatever it is, knowing that you're gonna get it looked at. So they didn't do that, but luckily it was like 3rd and 10 or whatever, and they got the ball, and then they was able to punt. And we got the ball back anyway, but still, that could have been a turning point in the game had they called it like it should have been. We would have got the ball right there and could have kicked a field goal or whatnot. Because I think when we got the ball, we went 3 plays and punted. We didn't really get anything. But that's just one of the instances where the referees kind of like overstepped their bounds a little bit. And I'm like, and it just seems like there was a pass interference. Every time there was a 3rd down and there was a minimal contact, there was called. There was a flag coming, and I was like, and then when and then in the second half, I think when they went up, when I think they went up 27, or they went up, let's see, yeah, when they went up 24-13, I think they were given the benefit of a roughing the passer call on Micah Parsons when Derek Carr is actually running the football going forward. And they called roughing the passer on that. They talked to them in the booth, and they were like, yeah, that's not what that call is for. That's for when you're in the pocket. When you become a runner, you can be hit. Okay? You give up all your rights as a quarterback once you start running. Okay? They never gave Cam Newton that call. I guarantee you they didn't. But yeah, it was I want to say it was like 2nd and 7 at the 41. At the 9:03 mark, Derek Carr short middle to Hunter Renfrow to the Dallas 30 for 11 yards. Penalty on Micah Parsons roughing the passer enforced at the 30, and they moved it 15 yards. So then they got it to 15. They ended up getting a touchdown. Now they may have ended up, we may have held up to a field goal there. Okay, but that gave them the ball at the 15. Okay, that was a call that didn't need to be called. Okay, and stuff like that. And then later in the game, there was a call on when we were punting the ball to the Raiders. We went 3 and out or 5 and out or whatever the case might have been. and they called illegal block in the back against us as the kicking team. Illegal use of hands, blocking in the back or whatever on the kicking team. I've been watching football 40 years. I have never seen that called on the kicking team, because the kicking team, the receiving team are doing two different things. The kicking team is not blocking. They're trying to make a tackle. They're trying to weed through the people to get to the ball carrier. So yeah, you might push some guys out of the way to get to the ball carrier. You can do that. That's just like calling holding on a tackle on a basic play. You can do that. That's how you make the tackle. You have to put your hands on people. You can't call that. That's, I'm like, what are they calling? You're not supposed to call that. And what he was doing, he's trying to get to the ball carrier. He pushed the guy to the ball. You can do that. You're making a tackle. That I've never seen that before. And then towards the end of the game, the 3rd and 18 after Michael had that sack, I thought he should have knocked the football out, but yeah, that was Anthony Brown. I mean, the dude didn't have any pass interference call coming on him in the game. He ended up with 4 for like 75 yards or something to that effect. And that one, it's overtime, dude. I mean, unless the dude's grabbing and pulling the guy down, you kind of got to let that, because that put him right in the middle of field goal range. And the ball hit Anthony Brown in the back of the head. So obviously he was in position. The ball hit him. So I don't know. I thought it was close. I think they could have, because it was 3rd and 18. And I'm not. That's like that's just like calling, a touch foul on a guy shooting a half court heave. I'm not bailing you out on that. You got to make a play on that. So unless the guy pulls him by the face mask and pulls him down, I'm not calling that. But they chose to call that, and that set up the winning field goal. And of course, if we didn't jump off sides twice, I think we could have, because he missed one of them, and it was just par for the course. But I did like the way Dak brought him down and got that touchdown to Dalton Schultz. Nice play, nice like 40-something yard pass to Michael Gallup down the sideline. He's starting to round into himself. I was liking that, but the penalties was a lot to overcome. I think we had 14 penalties for 166 yards in losses, which is a Cowboys team record. Now, the Raiders, they didn't do much themselves no favors either. They were, I think, 12 for 110. And they gave them a gratuitous false start penalty when they shouldn't have. When the guy bobbed his head to snap the football, yeah, that ain't no penalty. Okay. And I thought maybe that made up for, the call. And then another call, the one where they took the touchdown off the board where he hit Dalton Schultz again in the end zone. And they called some couple of penalties on Tyron Smith. And now what I saw from that, that's not holding. Why would you take points off the board on an iffy call? And then they said he lined up wrong or something. They never really addressed that. And I'm like, man, Tyron Smith been playing this game I don't know how long. I ain't never known him to line up in the wrong position. But whatever, man. And that took the touchdown off the board. And then on the next play, Dak, I think it might have been the next play. Dak missed Michael Gallup wide open in the end zone. He made the guy miss, went into the end zone. Dak threw it it was kind of like the first play in Kansas City last week when Gallup got open immediately. And he just kind of, I don't know if his timing was off or whatnot. He just missed him or whatever. So, and then, so it's just what it was. And we ended up having to settle for a field goal. And I think that cut it to 27-22, I think. And then I think on the ensuing drive, I think we give up like a 54-yard pass play to Hunter Renfrow. What's my man's name? 26, dude. If you playing deep safety, you cannot let a guy get behind you under no set of circumstances. It always seemed like we were just out of position at the wrong particular time. That should have never have gotten. That was third down also, if I ain't mistaken. and let that allowed them to get a field goal to go up 8. So we get off the field there, we're only down 5. That touchdown that he hit Schultz on would have put us ahead, and then we just playing, But you can't misplay things, okay? And so the referees kind of made some bad plays. I mean, they were awful. I mean, I'll give you 2 or 3 bad calls in the game because players make bad plays in the game. We're all human. We make mistakes. Okay? I get all of that. Okay. But when you start making 5, 6, 7, kind of questionable calls or iffy calls and stuff that you got the announcer saying, I don't know about that one. You can't have but maybe 1 or 2 of them in the game. You got 4, 5, 6 of them, dude, you called a bad game. Hockey league, like I said, if I know your name, you kind of overstepped your bounds, okay? Because we didn't come to the game to watch the referees referee. You supposed to be seen and not heard. You only call the egregious stuff. Because to be perfectly honest, if a referee wanted to, I'm just gonna be honest with you. If he was so inclined, the referee could call some sort of penalty, some sort of infraction on every single play. Because a lot of the plays are subjective. Holding calls are subjective. Anytime you get your hands on an individual, how can you tell if his jersey is clenched or not? You really can't. So it's your judgment. How many times you seen the guy and they said he grabbed his face mask and basically he just grabbed him under here and pulled, and it's like, oh yeah, he grabbed his face mask. They really look at it, oh no, that wasn't a face mask. Okay. Sometimes it's subjective. It's a lot of it is subjective. Pass interference, it's subjective. Remember the Kansas City game last week? Michael Gallup clearly held in the middle of the field and for all the world to see. They didn't call a thing. Subjective. He thought it was incidental. Today, those refs like, no, if you even breathe on him, I'm calling it. So, I just don't like the subjectivity of the refs' calls and whatnot. Now, Bill Cowher said something in the halftime show that kind of was like, so that's a smart dude. He said, usually when I was coaching, I would play a lot of zone in the first half to kind of see how the refs was calling it. If they're calling it tight, I'm going to man to man. I mean, if they're calling it loose or we're letting them play, I'm going to man. If they're calling it tight, I'm gonna stay in my zone. Okay, because you don't want them penalties, So you had that. So then the other takeaway is we just didn't take advantage of our opportunities when we had them. Okay. There was many times in the first half when we went 3 and out, when our defense made stops and whatnot. They may give up a couple of first downs and they got stopped. And it's kind of just like last week. We got 3 and out, Guys couldn't get out, just couldn't get things going, and sometimes it's just lack of effort, I'll give you a perfect example. And Tony Pollard, that 100-yard kickoff return, that was spectacular. All right. And then we get the penalty for them. I think they call it unsportsmanlike when you kind of bridge yourself over to block the extra point. So we got an opportunity to take the ball at the 1-yard line or 2-yard line for a 2-point conversion. Now that play was executed perfectly in terms of its concept. The execution of it left something to be desired because in the end zone, I think, was it Pollard or was it Cedric Wilson? I can't remember which one it was that took the fake handoff and then he gave it to him and then they went one way and they faked back and went the other way and he came right. If Dalton Schultz puts like he's supposed to a hit on Abrams, who's a safety, okay? And I'm saying that because a safety, you know what size a safety is? A safety is like 200 to 210 pounds, maybe 215. If you're a tight end, you're about 250 minimum. Okay. When you see a safety, you're supposed to blast him in the freaking mouth because he's 40 pounds lighter than you. You don't let him, shove you off and go make the tackle. You go put your helmet in his chest and drive him in the ground so that play can be successful. I was watching Undisputed a few weeks back, and Shannon Sharp was talking about, he's a Hall of Fame tight end. He's on with Skip Bayless and whatnot. I watch sports shows and different things, all that kind of stuff. And he was saying, when I play tight end, man, I'm blocking defensive ends all the time. When I see a guy, his number 40, 36, 40, I know that's a safety. I'm licking my chops because I'm gonna make you pay for all the times them defensive ends drug me in the ground. I'm punishing you, and I needed for Dalton Schultz to punish Abrams on that play, and he didn't do it. He kind of let him, he was real passive. And blocking is an attitude thing. You got to have the right mindset. You got to want to knock somebody's teeth out when you have the opportunity to. And you got to kind of want to do that. And that's what that needed to make that play, because that play would have been successful had he just blocked the guy. But he kind of just got in the way and kind of like, dude, size him up and blast him. Didn't do it. And that play got stopped. And that could have been, what would it have been? It would have been, it would have been 27-21. 24-21. Because at the time it was 24-13, I think, when he made the kickoff return. And if he'd have, they'd kicked the extra point, it'd have been 24-20, which would have been fine. But had he made that block like he should have made it, he walks into the end zone. And it's 24-21 is a field goal game. But it's little things like that, and effort like that and stuff. I thought that Dak played a spectacular game. I thought he was, if you look at his stats, most of this was the second half. I think he threw for like 230 yards in the fourth quarter and overtime, which is, all good, but you play 4 quarters. And I thought he didn't play as well in the first half, missed a lot of throws. The offensive line wasn't, the play calling was sort of there. Dak was 32 of 47 for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But I thought the 2 throws that he should have made that I thought were layups that could have been very different. It could have been a very different ball game. And that late third quarter, early fourth quarter, when we settled for that field goal, Michael Gallup beat his guy off the line, and he's in the end zone wide open, and Dak threw it somewhere else, and he was like, I thought you – no, throw the ball where the guy's at. He's open. Just throw it to him. It's a touchdown, wide open. And then on third down and overtime, when Noah Brown is open, he throws the ball behind him. And I'm like, dude, that's a layup. You got to lay that ball to him. You got to – that's a layup. I'm sorry, Dak. I can't give you no dap on that one. You got to make that throw. That's a layup. When you're talking about you like one of the highest paid players in the NFL, and I understand you missing some of your guys. I get all that stuff. I love Dak. I was nobody cheers harder for Dak when he hit Dalton Schultz for that 30-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. Wasn't nobody hollering louder than me. I was like, that's the way you do that thing, Dak. But when it came in the fourth quarter, you got the ball first. Let's go. Let's get that thing done. 3rd and 3, you threw the ball behind. And I told you many times, one of my critiques of Dak, when guys are running, and crossing a motion patterns, sometimes he don't put the ball in front where the guy can run and get it. He throws it and they got to stop and come back and get it. He's got to work on that. I'm sorry. Those are going to be the kind of throws that going to be the difference in us getting where we need to go. Because the throws are not going to be layups. You're going to have to make a throw, in traffic. Put the ball in a place where the guy can run after the catch. Don't make the guy have to stop mid-route and come back in. That's how you get your receivers killed, okay? So, so those are my takeaways. I thought that, we're missing players. Obviously, we're missing CeeDee Lamb. Prayers up to CeeDee Lamb that he get back. I really wasn't upset that he didn't play because I thought that they would have rushed to get him back to play, considering he got his concussion on Sunday. This just Thursday. And really, there's like 5 different steps and levels of things that you got to clear in order to make yourself eligible, clear, because NFL is real serious about this CTE thing. Now, they've been getting sued for like $300, $600, and $700 million and whatnot for different people for these things. So they're going to take very seriously these things. And I thought it would have been kind of difficult for him to clear all 5 of them steps in less than 5 days. So it's mean you combining steps and days. So I I'm not that upset with that because I don't want that guy at 35 years old don't know where he's at. You know, we got to stop looking at these players like they're Madden players. These are actual human beings that's going to have families and people and children and stuff to take care of. So I don't want him as brain to be a noodle when he's 35 because we cut some corners and forced him to play, when he couldn't, So go through the steps and whatnot. Amari, I'm not as forgiving on. Not because I'm pro or against. I've said it before. Now I'm pro against the vaccine, whatever stuff. But you knew going in that if you ended up contracting it and you were unvaccinated, you could potentially miss 2 to 3 games of your team's games. 2 to 3 of your team's games. Are you willing to stand that hard on that stance, understanding that all these guys in here are trying to pull in for the same thing? That's all I'm saying. If you can go back at them and look them in the eye and say, hey, that's, we good, then I'm good. If you can't, now I'm going to say this. Love me some Amari Cooper. He's a roll tider. I roll with the roll tide all day, every day. Love his demeanor, his quiet elegance. I love that. Okay. But Amari Cooper make $21 million a year. And don't think for a second that when they have their meetings in the offseason, that this ain't going to come up. We needed him into December. Now, I don't know where this is going to go. Okay. I have no idea where this is going to go. Okay. We played 4 games in December. We've lost 3 of them. 2 of those games, Amari Cooper didn't play in. Okay. The choice he made, now, like Jerry said, when you step into this thing, it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. We in this thing together. Some of the guys you play with, this is their only chance to get to the playoffs. And, and if you're an important player on that thing, especially Michael Irvin said it, you got a $2 million guy in Cedric Wilson and a $1 million guy and Noah Brown catching passes and a $21 million guy at the house. So don't think for a second that, see, Michael Gallup's contract is up this year. All right. Not to get into too much of the Cowboy, business or whatnot. His contract is up this year. Okay. Michael Gallup makes about $3.5–4 million a year, maybe somewhere in that neighborhood. All right. He's going to want to make some money. We're not going to have the money to get him. They're going to seriously look at like, man, dang, Amari's making $21 million. And he really wasn't there for us in November when we lost our 4 or 5 game lead in the NFC East down to like 1 game. And God forbid we missed the playoffs altogether. And because of this stretch, the momentum that was halted during this stretch. That's going to be a conversation had about do we want to, cut him or remove him or ask him to take a pay cut or something, because we're going to want to keep Michael Gallup, because he'll probably command $8–9 million a year, and they'll probably give him like a 5-year, like $60 million contract or $50 million contract or something like that, or $12–13 million or something like that a year. And, because he's only in his 3rd year and he's got growth. Amari's making $21 million. And like I said, don't think for a minute. You were naive if you think that this patch that is going on right here not going to come up again. So all I'm saying is that, man, you make decisions and you got to be willing to stand with the consequences that come from them. That's all I'm going to say about that. And if you're willing to be all right with that, and if they say, hey, we can't really, we want to go younger, he can't be mad at that because you made a decision and then they made a decision. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. And then the thing is about that, I love that, but there's going to be some days you're not going to have everything perfect. Offensive line not going to block perfect. You're not going to have your number 1, number 2 receivers. Okay. Sometimes you got to still win that game. Okay. And I know some other circumstances involved today, but Dak, I'm going to need you to win that game. And you know, these are the things that folks talk about when they criticize him, like, man, damn, why you paying Dak $40 million? He making 75 this year because some of the other contracts built on top of that one. And you know, Aaron Rodgers went into Arizona, didn't have Lazard, didn't have Devontae Adams, you know, didn't have a couple of offensive linemen, missing some defensive guys. He found a way to win that game. I'm just saying, to beat a man, you got to beat a man. That's all I'm saying. And nobody root for him harder than me, but I got to be fair and be critical when it's time to be critical. You got to win that game, buddy. You can't miss throws on 3rd and 3 in overtime. That you can't be throwing balls at folks' feet. You got to make that throw, bro. You know, just being honest. Okay. So where does that leave us? We're 7-4. We only got like a 1.5 or 2-game lead in the NFC East. We've lost 3 of the last 4 games. Now, luckily, we're gonna have some guys coming back. We got 10 days off. Well, we got a week off. We play next Thursday at New Orleans, who I think were getting their butts kicked by the Buffalo Bills. But they was playing hard though. We get some guys back. We get Tank Lawrence back, supposedly. Don't know about Randy Gregory. Murray may be back. We don't know what kind of symptoms he might have, how symptomatic he might be when he reports back next Friday. I don't know. I'm sure CeeDee Lamb will be back because he would have had time to clear all the hurdles and stuff like that. But and probably, you know, Tyron Smith will be more healthier than he was today. But man, we got some soul searching to do, man. Guys got to determine, dude, what kind of team we trying to be. I'm the biggest Cowboy fan they are, but I'm gonna tell it to you straight. It ain't looking good right now. All right, it's not. And you can blame the officials, and surely the officials played a part. But at the end of the day, you got to make a play when it's time. When a play is to be made, you got to make that play. And I thought there's too many opportunities went by the wayside where we didn't make the plays. They weren't there. And if you paid like a guy that makes some plays, you got to make them. People don't want to hear excuses. Okay. So that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. Cowboys take a tough one today, 36-33 in overtime. Cowboys give up I think it's a season high, 509 yards of offense, 28 first downs. You know, we held them. They only went 3 of 13 on 3rd down, just like we only went 3 of 13 on 3rd down. But the thing about it, they got 7 first downs by penalty. So, you know, we didn't run the ball enough. We only ran it 20 times, you know, and threw it 47 times. Threw it 43 times last week, 47 times this week. Remember, I always said in the Dak Prescott era, when we run it equal to more than we throw it, we like 29-0. We can't get into a game where we can't. We're scared to run the football. Running the ball, and you know that is an attitude thing. We got to get our guys tougher than wanting to make. You can't be scared of contact. Contact is part of the game, you know. But that's all I got, you know, from the desk of Uncle Fred. My God, 14 penalties for 166 yards. I'm just looking at the stats now. 14 for 166. No turnovers, no fumbles, no interceptions, none of that stuff. But a ton of penalties, 14 of them. 28 first downs, 507 yards, 509 yards offense. Can't live like that. Can't live like that. But that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. I'll be back with y'all next week with my pick'ems on Tuesday night after the who's playing Sunday night? Is it Cleveland and Baltimore? Maybe. I think that might be right. I'll check with y'all after that. But we got a week off, kind of lick our wounds. We got to come back. We got to forget this one. Come back and get to New Orleans next week because I promise you, they're not going to lay down for us because they playing for their playoff life just like we are. But that's all I got from the desk, Uncle Fred. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and become a part of the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Uncle Fred, once again, happy Thanksgiving. I'm signing out. I'm out. Have a good one.